Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled TV News. I am Peter, that is Connor, and as the title would suggest, this is our weekly video where we go through the week's TV news, talk about shows that are in development, pilot orders, green lights, everything else, updates on shows that we're interested in, new trailers, that kind of thing. So that's the bulk of the show, that's what we do every week. We also use this to give any updates on the channel, sort of plug reviews that are coming up, or in the end of the show, we also pick our favourite episode of TV of the week. So that's what we do here. I'm actually making a slight format change this week.
Uh-oh.
It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I've decided I want to get straight into the news at the start. I'm going to put all the what's been new this week and what's coming up next week. That's all going at the end now. That's all going with the favourite TV show of the week. What, you look terrified. What?
I don't approve of change.
I think this is a fine
change for change's sake.
This is a fine format change. I feel it's better to get into the nitty gritty.
I like having my warm up where I can just kind of go nod along for a couple of minutes.
Well, tough. We're diving in deep.
Yeah, see, this is why I don't like it.
Yeah, you don't get to warm up anymore. That's really the goal of all this, is to make sure Connor's not slacking at the start of the show. That is the real goal here.
The reality is that I am slacking, and that's fine.
Have you started drinking booze yet?
I've had like a sip.
I'm just checking. I'm just curious. I'm keeping track. Because we're doing this, then we're doing the movie news, and then we're watching Arrow together, which he likes to be drunk for. So he likes to be drunk by the time we get to the end of the news.
No. I don't like to be drunk for Arrow. I need to be drunk for Arrow. There's a difference.
I apologise. So yeah, so we're going to just dive straight into the news, starting with the quick things as per usual. A couple of release dates and a trailer or two, one of which was at the Super Bowl. Of course, there'll be a lot more Super Bowl trailer talk in the movie news, which we do. We're recording it later tonight, but it goes up a day later for everyone, both on the YouTube and the feed. Anyway, so kicking things off, a couple of exciting premiere dates, both of which are very much in our interest. That is Legion Season 2 has been given a premiere date. We actually kind of already knew it was coming in April, but now we know it's going to be coming April 3rd, which is a Tuesday, which I believe is a day change from last year. I think last year it was a Wednesday, and now it's on a Tuesday night. Not a big deal, not a big difference, but so that's that. So that's coming at the start of April. That's cool. April's getting stacked, by the way.
Yeah, I don't want any more in April now.
Yeah, because April, of course, already has Handmaid's Tale, now we're getting Legion. Oh, and by the way, the trailer we got at the Super Bowl, which was HBO's way of announcing Westworld Season 2, is coming April 22nd. That's exciting. Bit of trivia about that trailer, before we talk about the trailer itself. This is the first time in 20 years that HBO has put a trailer on the Super Bowl.
Really?
Yeah. They said, know what? Westworld Season 2 is big enough for it.
I mean, I can't dispute that.
I can't either. I obviously we're excited. We love season one.
I'm just surprised that Game of Thrones has never had one, given that that's usually April, May. Yeah,
I guess it's just their way of saying this is better than Game of Thrones, and I agree.
Alternatively, they're going, yeah, we don't need to get any more people for Game of Thrones. Everyone already is coming back for that anyway.
Yeah. Annoyingly, Connor's internet upload is doing the same things it did yesterday, where the voice is getting a bit tinny at times. But apologies for that. We will start troubleshooting. We actually may have to start looking into you recording your audio on your side, which honestly sounds like a lot of work. But if it's going to keep doing it, it may actually be worth setting something up to do that. But bear with us. Bear with us. It doesn't get too bad. But if it gets shockingly bad, we'll pause and let it recuperate. But you just sound like you're on a phone sometimes.
It annoys me because I'm an audiophile and I can't tell that there's anything wrong with it because I'm not hearing it. It's just frustrating. I want to know how to fix it and there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, nothing's changed. Well,
I updated some video drivers, but that shouldn't affect anything.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Regardless,
that's the only thing that changed. Yeah. Back
to what we actually want to talk about, and that is Westworld Season 2. Really stylized trailer, a lot of slow motion. It's basically, oh god, it's been a long time. Dorothy? It's not Dorothy. Dolores. There you go.
I think.
That sounds kind of right.
Yeah.
Evan Rachel Wood. Rachel Evan Wood. Sorry, not Evan Rachel Wood. We're off to a bad start. Maybe changing the format.
This is why we warm up.
This is why we warm up. No, Rachel Evan Wood is given this narration, which I assume comes from in show. It may not be, it may be specifically written for the trailer. That said, it ends on actually seeing her say the final word, which makes me think it is a speech from within the show itself.
It's inside the show, yeah.
So some of the stuff that's going on as well almost feels like it is just for the trailer, but at the same time, I can kind of see how it'll fit in.
Work, yeah, but it feels like this is perfect for trailers.
Like there's a slow motion thing where a mechanical, a host bull, if you will, is like charging at the agents, and Thandie Newton's kind of walking up, almost like a Jedi. Actually, she's got this robe on. This is very, very kind of masterful as she's walking down the hallway. I don't want to talk too much about it because obviously it looks really cool. We liked it a lot. I'm excited about it. Obviously, a lot of it is just about the host making the Westworld their own. That's very much what the whole speech is about. The one moment I wanted to point out, though, is a really creepy moment. It's you see a host that's not finished yet. It's just all like, sort of that white creamy look thing, and it's like walking up behind. God, I've forgotten all the characters' names. What works? He was like an engineer.
Oh, Jeffrey Wright's character.
Jeffrey Wright's character, yes.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, not well. You can't remember his name.
We're going to have to
either.
refresh ourselves on the names before we
Of
watch
course,
this.
yeah, but it's been a long time. But it's sneaking up behind him, and it is creepy as shit. And I'm like, oh yes, I'm in. I'm in. I don't know what they're doing this season, but I'm in.
Oh, no, that's true. I will say, speaking of just being an audiophile, I thought it was really hard to hear a speech. The piano music they had was just too loud. Which
was a piano cover of some popular song.
Yes, it was. I can't remember which one now. But it was because I was so annoyed. I'm trying to listen to the speech. I'm like, just let me hear the words, and I can't hear it properly, and it was really frustrating me.
I like that your audio quality's dipping as you say that. It's actually kind of amusing.
It's irony at its best, isn't it?
And now it's back. It's all over the place for some goddamn reason. So no, Westworld season 2 looks very good. We're looking forward to it, and it's coming April 22nd. So April is stacked with shows that we had a lot of season 1s last year that we liked a lot, and all their season 2s seem to be hitting in April.
The only thing is, there's nothing else really that we're expecting in April. The only thing that could be is maybe The Expanse, if they want to give that a late announcement.
Yeah, Expanse is the only thing that could kind of pop in. Also, Netflix haven't announced anything for April really yet.
That's the concern. Netflix might throw a bunch at us.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm fine with one or two, but I mean, they tend to never give us. I mean, obviously they have a show every week, more or less now, but they tend to never give us specifically things that we care about 4 weeks in a row.
No, that's true. I think the bigger concern is when Amazon start actually giving us the things that we care about.
Oh, they're not ready to be put out yet.
No, they're not yet. But as I say, we're fine for April. But once we have Amazon competing for our attention with Netflix, that's when we get busy.
I don't think I have to worry about that till after the summer. I think we're good.
No, probably not.
I think we're good for a while. But hey, we also got a trailer for a Netflix show. Speaking of the devil, a full trailer for Jessica Jones season 2, which gives us a kind of a hint of what the plot's actually going to be in season 2. It seems that Jessica is going to be looking into her past, actually trying to find out why she has powers and everything else. And it seems like Hellcat is actually going to be kind of her origin is going to become a thing. The trailer makes that very clear. It looks pretty good, and I'm hopeful that it will be good, because obviously the Marvel Netflix shows have left us a little bit wanting.
Cautiously optimistic, because I stand by that first season being my favourite. But experience since then has not been great.
Yeah. That said, the plots that are presented in the trailer make a lot of sense. They seem like a natural progression for the characters to go on. And there was none of that pill-popping Paul guy, so hopefully he doesn't pop up.
No.
He probably will, but...
Honestly, the concern's going to be the pacing, really, isn't it? More than anything, and
I feel like...
something that you can hide in any trailer.
And I feel like it's not so much that the pacing's gotten worse with each show, although maybe it has to an extent. I think it's so much that the more we watch, the more we become aware of the pacing, especially since Netflix, for the most part, in the last half year or so, I've put out a lot of other shows where the pacing's not been a problem, where they've actually kind of nailed it. Ironically, we're doing Altered Carbon right now, which does have a bit of a pacing issue, but...
It does. I think, I don't know if it has gotten worse or not, like you say, but I think we were just more forgiving at first, because there was no benchmark. That was it.
Yeah, whereas now it's starting to get a bit more tedious on our patience. So hopefully things work out. But hey, so... yeah, actually, one quick thing before we get to the actual news. I just wanted to briefly mention an image that Jeff Johns, who of course big DC Comics guy, tweeted out just today, he tweeted out the front page of a script for an episode of Titans, which of course is DC Comics' streaming service that they're going to be launching come sometime late this year, early next year. It's kind of fuzzy right now as to when. But Titans is the first live action show. We knew he was involved in it. I have to say, the first time is just before I get to what the title of the episode was, it said on the script page, written by Jeff Johns, and I thought, oh, it's episode 5, and it's written by Jeff Johns. That's cool.
I did the same, because I was like, episode 1 I can kind of expect.
Yeah, I was half expecting him to do the pilot, help set it up, and then he's on to other things. But the fact that he's still writing episodes 5 in, I mean, admittedly, he probably didn't do 2 through 4, but the fact that he's back for another one and maybe back for the finale or something like that later on.
Yeah, it stuck around more than you expected, for sure.
That's actually kind of exciting. I like that. That's cool. But the episode's called Doom Patrol, implying a cameo of another team, of course. Doom Patrol is what they're called.
Yes.
Obviously, for DC fans, they got what I meant there. I was just making clear for everyone else. There's a team called Doom Patrol in DC Comics that will be
exciting. I don't necessarily love Doom Patrol, but I love that they're going to be on the show, because that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't have a particular attachment to Doom Patrol as of yet, but the fact that Johns is willing to put in something as wacky as Doom Patrol, because they're a wackier concept.
They are.
And they're a deeper pull, they're a deeper comics dive than a lot of other things that we see on TV.
Yeah, it's just exciting that that's gonna happen.
And I say that, right now we've got the elongated man on a TV show, so you're like, there's deep pulls already happen, but this is deeper. This is as deep as deep.
Yeah, it is. It's as deep as you can get while still being a name that most of the comics fans will recognize.
Yeah. So with that said, we'll move on to actual news. And there was actually 1 or 2 things this week where I wasn't sure where to put them in terms of the movie or TV news, because they kind of bled into both. So there's actually a Disney streaming story in the movie news that you'll get tomorrow, which is quite juicy for other reasons. But the one I wanted to mention here is that Bob Iger, is it Iger or Iger? I always ask this question.
I always think it's Iger, but I don't know.
I like Iger just because you can crack a lot of jokes about him being eager.
You can.
Oh, that Bob's a eager fella, but Iger, yeah, Bob Iger.
I think when it's I at the start of a name, I usually assume it's like that.
But he was talking about the streaming service, and specifically the Star Wars TV show that we've been hearing about. More specifically, he said that there's multiple Star Wars TV shows in development for their streaming service. But there's one that's closer than the rest, which they might be ready to reveal soon and announce and say, hey, here, this is the first one we're doing, this is what's coming.
Yeah.
But I thought it was worth mentioning that they've got multiple actually in development, because whereas before, when they made the announcement, it was just, we've got one Star Wars show in development.
Yeah, it doesn't really surprise me though. I mean,
oh no, it doesn't surprise anyone. I don't think.
I think I heard them say that they're planning on launching with the Star Wars show.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would if I were them.
It would make sense, but I've got a lot more juicy stuff on that streaming service tomorrow, because a lot more of it was movie focused, but arguably some of the juicy stuff could have been wet and either, but I didn't want to repeat myself. So you get more juicy Disney streaming service news tomorrow on the movie news. Alright, next up, we got some casting for a few shows. First up, What We Do in the Shadows, the comedy show
that you missed a couple of weeks ago.
How is that relevant right now?
I just wanted to remind everyone.
How is that relevant? Yeah, it's happening, it's coming. FX are doing it, half-hour comedy based on the mockumentary film by Taika Waititi? Is it Taika Waititi? But hey, so I've had some cast to it. Doug Jones being the one that stands out more than any of them out of the batch this week.
So how are they covering his face?
That is a good question. He'll be a werewolf, I have no doubt. Didn't say that, I'm just assuming that. Also, Beanie Fielding, Jake McDormand, and Mark Proksch have all been added to the cast. There was a lot of letters at the end of that word without a vowel. I really had to think about it. But yeah, so they've all been added to the cast. Their roles are being kind of kept hush-hush. Worth mentioning that we already have Kevin Novak, Matt Berry, Natasha Demetrio, and Harvey Gillen. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know most of these names, admittedly.
No,
maybe I'd recognise some of their faces.
Well, it's Matt Berry and Doug Jones, I think, are the ones that stick out to my
definitely.
To my
but ultimately, I'm just glad to get news to go. No, this is chugging along.
Oh yeah, it's happening. Yeah. I feel like it felt like it was kind of like just somewhere going nowhere for a long time. I think as soon as FX said they were doing it, it's like, okay, we're actually on the path now.
This is actually going to happen. Yeah.
So speaking of casting, Amazon are doing a Hanna show. I don't know if you remember this.
The movie.
Yeah, it was based. I don't know if it's based in the movie. I think they're both based in the book. But
right, is this the one without the H at the end of Hanna?
Yeah, it's 2 N's, no H.
Yeah.
Or well, there's 1 H. Obviously, it starts with an H. But
yeah, that's why I said the one without the H at the end.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I know what this is.
Yeah, but I've seen Hanna's with 1 N as well before. That was the way I specified.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen Hanna with 1 N.
Okay.
Oh no, not with the H at the end though. It's always if it's Hanna with 1 N, there's no H at the end.
Oh, that's weird. I mean, that's weird. I always find it weird when you have Sarah without a H at the end as well. It's another one, isn't it? Just put a H at the end.
It doesn't really bother me. I'm fine with it.
I had 6 Hannas in my class at school. Very popular name for some reason.
I had no Hannas in my entire year at school.
Wow, that's weird.
I think we did have something like 6 Kevins though in our year.
Oh, we had a handful of Kevins.
A lot of Kevins.
Yeah.
I was the only Peter somehow, which has surprised me.
What?
I know. I was the only Peter in my year.
I expect there to be at least 3 or 4 of.
Yeah, but no, none of those. One Connor, if I recall, just.
We had a few. We had a few.
But hey, anyway, so what to get into? Yeah, so we got a cast. We got the 3 leads for Hanna. We have Esme Creed Miles. We have Joel Kinnaman, who of course is on Alt Carbon right now. We have Marielle Enos, who actually was in The Killing, which Joel Kinnaman was also in. So they're kind of reuniting on this. So they're going to star in this. It was ordered straight to series last year, and it's Sarah Adina Smith is going to direct. She's directed episodes of Legion. She's directed episodes of Room 104. So she's got some cred behind her. It's going to start shooting in March across a lot of locations actually. I feel like TV shows tend to try and tie themselves to one location and they'll fake other places, but this is shooting in Hungary, Slovakia, Spain and the UK. That is actually an impressive list for a TV show.
It's going to look good then in theory.
Yeah. So it's written by the same guy who co-wrote the original film. It follows the journey of a young girl with extraordinary skills as she evades the relentless pursuit of an off-book CIA agent and tries to unearth the truth behind who she is. It's worth mentioning that Creed Miles is Hanna. Joel Kinnaman is kind of the disgruntled sort of agent who like kind of raises her in secret, you know, in the woods before she leaves and goes out of the world. And then Enos is playing the villain, track her down. So that's the setup for the show.
I feel like we heard about this a while ago, without any casts or anything, but just as a like them doing it again from the same writer as the movie.
Oh yeah, I just said it was last May they announced it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that was where they were shooting for some reason. That was March, right?
They're shooting this March. Last May they announced it.
A long time then for just to get to this stage.
That to me says they've probably written the whole season and they've.
Yeah, probably.
And I mean, who knows? I mean, they've probably spent some time. I mean, they're announcing all the cast now, but they've probably been casting for a while.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they have.
Getting all that set up. So maybe it's just a good sign they're taking their time.
I never watched the movie, to be honest. Did you?
Joe, it's funny. I actually saw the first 20 minutes of it, and then I didn't dislike it. It just something came up, and I never went back to it. So it seemed like it was going to be okay, but
as much as you can tell from the first 20 minutes of a movie.
It was Saoirse Ronan who was in the movie, and I only pronounced her name correctly because you told me that last week, and I remember.
You're learning.
Yeah, after a few months, if her name come up again, I'm going to be like, Saoirse, yeah.
Every time.
But yeah, so despite the fact that I've not actually seen the movie all the way through, I do actually kind of like the concept for the show. Yeah. It's very to put it in like comic book terms for people who like DC Comics. It's very Cassandra Cain kind of sounding, where she's this little badass. But yeah, I like that.
It sounds fun.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah,
it does.
So yeah,
I mean, a lot of it's going to depend on the tone on the show, I think.
Yeah. The movie, from what I saw, was kind of serious and a little bit of like melancholy, but which I think is fine. I think if you do it so that it's kind of dark, but she has she's like the heart to the show because she's so innocent, but she's like a badass at the same time. Like I feel like there's something you could do there that could be quite entertaining. So hey, like we say, Amazon theoretically will have a lot more shows for us to check out over time.
Yeah, I feel like they've been a long time with us not caring really. And then suddenly they're announcing a lot that we are interested in.
Yeah, all started with reffing. Still can't wait for that.
Oh boy.
Ah dear. That's obviously the filmmaker, not the name of the show, just for the record. But hey, so next up, also about casting, we have another sort of main character from the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. What's the Chilling Tales of something? I didn't make that up. That's something.
Is it?
Not Sabrina. The Chilling Tales of something. Yeah, that's definitely a name of something. But anyway, so Jazz Sinclair's been cast on the Netflix show. She's going to play Rosalind Walker, who is our best friend at the high school. That's the thing. She's also the daughter of Greendale's minister. So we've got another main cast member, and we also got a photo. And I wanted to tack this on. The showrunner, who also writes a lot of the comics right now, tweeted out a picture of their Salem. They've cast Salem. A black cat has been cast. Now, all it really is a picture of a black cat next to a candle. It doesn't really mean a whole lot, but it made me giddy all the same, because there's definitely going to be Salem. We've got the cat.
Do you know what? I'm not going to lie. When you started this news story, I'd forgotten about the piece of actual casting earlier in the week. Because it was quite early in the week. I did see it.
Yeah.
But obviously I'd seen that cat like 2 hours ago.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, this better not be that damn cat you're putting here as serious news.
No, it was an additional item on top of the actual news.
It's fine, there's additional things, but I thought it was going to be just that for a moment. I was like, no, even you can't stoop to that level.
I'd especially love it if I actually had a name for the cat. Also, the cat that's been cast is a young 3-year-old feline from Boston. His name is Snuffles.
So I'm just imagining cats with different accents now.
Do you know, I don't know about cats, but apparently dogs do actually develop slightly different accents.
Really? That is fascinating.
Just slightly.
You said from Boston. I'm thinking of a cat with a Boston accent, and it just give me a little.
Well, no, it's actually a valid thing to bring up, because now I'm thinking though, does he talk out loud? Like, do they actually have him talking?
Shit, you're right. That actually is a thing with this.
I mean, it's not a cat that's voicing him, obviously.
No, it's not a cat. If only.
If only. I'd want one of those cats.
You're right. I forgot about
that. Like, do they do this thing where she like just talks to it and she can hear him like talking back, but we don't? Right? Do they go the Flash Grodd route from the TV show where he's just telepathic, or do they just say screw it? I don't care how dark and serious this is. That cat is talking, because they're still going to have the whole thing where it's actually like a witch who's been like imprisoned as a cat for doing dodgy things in the past. So
I'm okay with the telepathic one.
You're not okay with the talking out loud?
I feel like it could just look weird. Is the problem? It could take you out of it, and as much as I like it in concept, I don't know how well it translates to the screen.
All right, okay. I will be overjoyed if they do it, but I'm also fine with the telepathic. I won't be disappointed if they do the thing where she just talks to him and we don't hear anything back, but I kind of want to have Salem's voice in some capacity.
Me too. And I reserve the judgment to be proven wrong on saying it doesn't work on the screen that well.
But so yeah, we got the best friend and we got the cat.
This is happening.
It's gearing up. Now, speaking of witches, the Charmed reboot, of course, we got green light for the pilot.
We did, yeah.
That was a beautiful segue, by the way. But I don't want to...
That was not bad, actually.
I don't want to spoil anything, but there's another 2 stories later on that I intentionally put together, again, because I knew I could segue them.
Oh, I hope I can accidentally ruin one of them. Because sometimes I'll say something and it'll just ruin your segue.
But, so we actually got like character descriptions for the sisters in this one, and now, admittedly, they do say that, what's the phrasing here they put? The unofficial names of the characters, so they may actually change these, but if you remember in the original show, the witches all had names with P. They were all alliterated, so it was like Piper, yes. Phoebe, Prue, and Paige.
I'm not going to remember.
That was a new one.
Years.
Yeah, that was McGowan's character when she added she was Paige. But, so they got 3 sisters again. This time they're still alliterated, but they're all M's right now, at least so far. They're Macy, Mel, and Madison. Right? That's what we've got right now. So they've kept the style, but just with they've picked a different letter.
Sure.
For reasons. But yeah, so and they've got little descriptions for each of the characters. And so I thought it'd be interesting, especially since I was curious to see because in the original show, even though there were witches in the Charmed universe, witches all had a power, like a superpower essentially. So I was curious, and they all sound like they're the same powers to me from memory. Again, it's been a long time, but they sound like the same. Two of them sound definitely very familiar. So Macy's the oldest one. She's in her late 20s. She's an intense science nerd. It says is a PhD. I feel like that's meant to be has a PhD.
I should hope so.
Yeah, in quantum physics, who's moving with her boyfriend Galvin to Hilltown, Michigan. Galvin, that's his name.
What a name.
I know. Do you know what? I really hope that after he has sex, he just says, "You've just been galvanized."
Oh, he definitely should.
I would have had that name.
Yeah, gotta get your fun out of that name somehow, ain't you?
But she's going to work in a university lab, and she had. Now, this is actually the interesting thing here: is she doesn't seem to like actually have grown up with the other two sisters. It says Marcy has a reason to believe that she is related to Mel and Madison. Her power is telekinesis. So that's maybe sort of the pilot where she like sort of like reunites with her two sisters that are long lost, and that'll be a thing. Which is kind of funny because that's actually kind of taken in, and this only happened in the original show because you had Sharon Doherty left the show, so they had to have another sister who didn't know them the whole time. So it almost sounds like they're kind of working that into the opening of the show.
They just have to lock in those contracts early so that they don't have to add in a fourth later.
Well, if I recall, it wasn't just that the contract ran out. There was just behind the scenes shenanigans and stuff. Sure. So that's Macy. Then we got Mel, a strong-willed feminist. She feels deeply and is a bit controlling. She's in her mid-20s and a lesbian. Which is a change. There wasn't any gay characters in well, at least not the main characters. Maybe there was a small, like a minor character who was gay at some point, but I don't remember any. And in the wake of a tragic accident, the grieving Mel becomes angry, defiantly unkempt, even violent, pushing away those who might help her, including her girlfriend, Detective Soo Jin. What I like about that is it's spelled S-O-O, so I almost read it as So Jin. Like, a sarcastic so.
Oh, you're the worst.
But so she's got a detective, which is interesting because I think the older sister had a detective boyfriend in the original. So again, they've kind of mixed and matched some of the ideas in terms of...
They've just kind of jumbled them all together and gone, right, okay, let's pick 3 things for each one.
Mel's power is time freezing, which was definitely a power in the original show. That was Piper's. I remember that very vividly. And then the third sister, Madison, she's the youngest, she's about 18, is athletic. She's a college student, pledging a sorority. Madison is the opposite of her feminist sister with a desire to fit in. Madison is horrified to learn she's a witch. Her power is hearing people's thoughts. I think it's interesting that for Macy they just said telekinesis, but for Madison they didn't say telepathy, they just said she hears people's thoughts.
Yeah, I wonder if they don't trust people not to get confused between the two.
Yeah, or is it technically, like, is that the way of distinguishing that she can't speak into people's heads?
Yeah, maybe. I hadn't considered that.
I'm not
sure. The thing is, someone who just reads thoughts, I would still say they are telepathic.
Yeah, I would too, but maybe that's what their thinking is. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
But so that's the 3 characters, and they're looking for some supporting cast. Like the girlfriend, there's like a rogue boyfriend, and other people that are going to cast
all the usual things that you'd expect.
I think that was the 3 same powers. What was funny though, I remember in the original show, they got, like, after about 4 or 5 seasons, they got bored with the powers, so they decided to give them all new powers as well. They all had like a second power that unlocked, and I remember Phoebe's was like, it wasn't quite flying, but she could levitate. And it was kind of like...
really shit, isn't it?
And it felt...
You can levitate, but you can't fly.
And at the time... Well, I think she could fly eventually, but at the time, I remember just thinking, oh, this is basically just flying, but we don't have the budget to actually have her flying around all the time, so we'll just have her levitate, like, in the room.
What good does that do you? How often is that useful? Oh, someone spilt something on the floor, I guess I'll levitate over. And
I think she was telepathic, because if I remember correctly at the start of the show, she was disappointed because the other two had powers, and they had obvious powers because they were doing things like physically, and she didn't. She thought she didn't have one, and then the thoughts, the mind reading started to kick in, and I was like, oh, okay, I do have a power. So
makes sense.
Yeah, I think those were the 3 powers. They all sound familiar, especially the time freezing. But hey,
I'll tell you, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, the other casting for the supporting cast: a devilishly handsome advisor. Or white lighter is the term. So that's Watcher. They're Watcher. Kind of like the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like Giles.
But handsome.
Are you saying Anthony Stewart Head was not handsome? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying this is on the CW, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, I'm saying devilishly handsome on the CW does not mean Anthony Head.
It does not. But that said, you'll still be older. Admittedly, older for this means 35-ish, probably. But still.
Yeah.
Also, Macy's got a documentary filmmaker boyfriend. That's the aforementioned Galvin. And
Galvin, the documentary filmmaker.
And then Madison's sensitive loner expo Bryan. So yeah, there you go. So there. Also, I want to point out that this article, I think this was from The Wrap, I want to say. This was from a source that I don't usually take it from. But at the end, they mention producers are also on the prowl for an actress to play Mel's girlfriend. And I'm just like, the prowl? That's a weird word to use in this context.
Do you know, I feel like you need to start jotting down where every story is from, so that when we come across the errors, we can call them out properly instead of just guessing. Get you going, oh, I think it was them.
Yeah, it's because it's usually just the same two sources, which is why I don't typically bother.
Maybe we should write down the writers of the articles and go, no, it's your fault.
You say we, I'm the one who gets the news. This is just adding work for me. This is not we nothing. This is not We Are the Flash.
It's like a tiny bit extra work.
I don't think you understand how long it takes me to sit and do the news, especially now that I'm doing the movie news as well after, which is even longer than TV news. So keep your ideas to yourselves.
Just choose less news. then there's less of it.
I still have to wade through it and then decide what I'd be cutting. So at that point, I'm like, well, if I put in the effort, it's going in.
I get you.
Sometimes TV, of course, can bring us amazing stories.
Oh God, that is not a good segue. I'm not having it.
I wasn't really using it for the segue. I just wanted to say that so I could do my next bit.
Go on.
Do you know what an amazing story is?
It's a very generic story at this point, frankly.
It's not that amazing anymore. Bryan Fuller has once again left a TV show.
Oh, I'm shocked.
So, not only him, he stepped down as showrunner. Also, what was the other? Hart Hansen, who was he's sort of second in command, who was also going to sort of do the day-to-day showrunning.
Which bug it off with him.
Yeah, which says to me he was actually the showrunner, and Bryan Fuller was never the real showrunner if he was doing the day-to-day showrunning.
Put his name on it.
But yeah, they wanted his name on it. But yeah, so they've left, and it does say due to creative differences. This is the specific blurb. Fuller's vision for the show did not mesh with the more family-friendly approach sought by Apple and Amblin Television. And we've heard this before, that Apple want a non-R-rated slate of things.
Yeah, it's kind of more boring though, isn't it?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think given how much of the other like anthology sci-fi shows we have that do go full R-rated and stuff,
it is. I feel like because they want that across the slate.
Across the slate's a bit weird, but just for that show itself, given how many anthology sci-fi shows we have that are all full of swearing and violence and dark themes, it actually might be refreshing to have one that is a bit more...
Oh, it might. It's just strange that they're like, no, consistently, I don't know, this is what we want to do. I'm like, you want some variety?
Yeah, I know. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, to be honest.
No. I said when this broke earlier in the week, I said in the comments of our Facebook group that Fuller has become the Del Toro of TV, and I didn't realize how true that was until I thought of it. It's just it starts projects, goes, yeah, this will be cool, and then pisses off.
Yeah, the only difference being though is that every time Fuller seems to leave,
picks it up and it actually exists.
No. I was going to say every time Fuller leaves a show, it's because of creative differences. When Del Toro leaves a movie, it's usually just because he's put too many movies in development.
I don't know about that, because the last couple of times I feel like maybe there has been creative differences, but they've been saying it's been scheduling and time.
See, this is the thing though. He starts so many projects that I am willing to believe that it's scheduling and time.
Yeah, because I know when he left to Star Trek Discovery for American Gods, that was because of time, right? So they said.
I was talking about Del Toro, not.
Oh, Del Toro. Yeah. I'm saying with Fuller as well, though. I'm starting to believe that some of them could be time, like with the amount that he does. Because I'm expecting in the next 2 weeks we'll get him on something else.
Yeah, sure. I mean, okay. Star Trek might be that case. Although at the same time, I don't know. Like I
I
feel
don't
like
know either, yeah.
like why does he make that choice to pick American Gods over that if he's satisfied there? I feel like okay, that may be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but like what position's he in where he's making that call? I don't know, but. Hey, Bryan Fuller's left a TV show. Amazing Stories is still happening. They're just looking for new people, I guess.
Do you know what? That's going to be one of those stories that you see it a lot in gaming, where there's like something that happens so often that it's just people just stop reporting it because it's not even worth mentioning anymore. Like this is going to be that. Oh, Fuller's left another show. Cool. We won't even bother mentioning that.
If anything, it'll be news if the show starts and he's still on board. He's still there.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, so that is that. Let's move on. Oh, remember how earlier on I said something was in the movie news tomorrow? I lied. It's in this news. I forgot where I put it.
You're a bloody disgrace.
We're on to, and this actually does kind of link into that story we just did. There's actually a link here.
Is there?
But I don't want to use it as a segue because I don't want to spoil it before I say it. But it is similar to something we were just talking about.
Someone leaving?
No. So this was so Bob Iger. I forgot I'd split these up because I wanted to put Star Wars at the top because that was more of a headlining kind of thing. But Bob Iger or Iger, whatever you want to call him, he was doing a lot of interviews and he was talking about their streaming service that is coming in 2019. And likely will include lots of Fox things, although he's specifically not talking about anything they're doing with Fox stuff right now, because clearly, obviously, the deal's not actually been through, they're waiting for it to all be approved and so on.
I'm assuming we've got some updates on that in the movie news.
Yeah, there's one update on the movie news about that. So there's actually more in the movie news tomorrow still. But what I've got here in this one is he's specifically saying that they are competing with Netflix, but they're going to spend less on volume. Right?
Okay.
And basically what he's meaning by that is that we have Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney IPs, therefore we don't have to make as many things. We can just coast on this amount of stuff.
It's not wrong.
It's not wrong. It instantly makes the service less attractive to me.
See, the sad reality is, as I don't really care about the Marvel shows so much, but you're telling me there's going to be, Star Wars shows, plural, and Disney shows. Yeah, all right, I'm chucking your money.
Mm-hmm. And just to give you a sneak peek of the news that's in the movie news tomorrow, it specifically said something like 5 or 6 shows in the first year, which compare that to how many shows Netflix put out in a year.
At least now, yeah.
Well, yeah, at least now, but this is Disney. If they wanted to hit the ground running, they absolutely could. Apple have already announced more than 6 shows that are probably going to hit in their first year of whatever service they've got.
Honestly, 6 shows in the first year, so let's say it's a show every 2 months, assuming that they're just binge formatting them, which I think is likely. I mean...
Either way they'll be. I'm not sure. I could see them going either way on it.
Yeah, I mean, we know we're getting a Star Wars show and a Marvel show, and I think it was a Monsters Inc. show, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Early on. So that still leaves 3 up in the air.
High School Musical's 1.
Oh, you're right. Was there any others?
That's the ones I remember. There may have been one more, but that's what I don't. Yeah, it was something around that number. I'll have the exact figures tomorrow because it was within the movie news. But so that, and I'm like, okay, there's not a whole lot of content. Like it's, like that's actually more comparable to DC's streaming service than it is Netflix or Amazon.
It is, yeah.
Which almost surprised me. And again, I'll just spoil this a lot of detail, which I think is worth mentioning again because this ties in directly to what we were talking about with Apple just there. Apparently, because we were actually questioning what they're going to do now that they kind of own more of Hulu. Well, at least they will. If the Fox deal goes through, they'll have a majority of Hulu as well.
Yeah.
And what they're going to do with that, plus the fact that they've got their own Disney service, basically they were saying, well, our Disney service, no R-rated content at all. R-rated content goes to Hulu. Yeah. So it seems like they've actually thought about this and they're saying, no, we're going to make Hulu the adult version of our streaming service, and the Disney one is...
I get that. It's disappointing for the Star Wars and Marvel shows, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because In the same way that I was just saying about Apple there across the board, this is disappointing. Obviously, the Disney IP, I totally get. Keep that like that. But some variety in the Star Wars and Marvel could have been fun.
Which makes me more convinced, and I think he even said something along these lines, that it will probably be very heavily Disney branded. If they're avoiding R rating, to me that says it's not just going to be the Disney. Before I was thinking they might just pick a name for it, kind of like how Netflix or Hulu has a name and just call it that because it's going to have.
This will be the Disney something.
Yeah, and because they're avoiding R-rated content, I am pretty guaranteed of that now because they want to keep it within the brand of everything's kid friendly. Nothing more than PG-13.
No, I get that, and I mean, mildly disappointing for, like I said, the Star Wars and Marvel shows, but overall, yeah.
It does make Hulu look a lot more interesting, though, potentially, if they're going to start pumping out more content for it.
It does. I think it's a smart decision in that sense.
It's smart. Obviously, I'd rather charge a few extra dollars and just have one big service that has everything, but hey.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I do understand it. And, they have, I think they call it Disney Life, is their service at the minute, which is all their animated stuff in one place, which is its own subscription thing. I assume that'll get rolled into this.
Oh, better, or they're just milking it more than they should be.
It might be just a case of they rebrand Disney Life as this.
Yeah, potentially. I think honestly, we're already at a part where there's too many streaming services, right? And them having the two separate ones. Well, it makes sense in the fact that they're both different sort of markets, they're both different audiences. Ultimately, I can't help but feel, if let's say you're a family, right, you've got a couple of kids, but you've got the parents. The parents want their adult content, and then you want the kids to have all their Disney and Marvel and Star Wars shit. Like, it's much more appealing, I think, to a family to just pay a little bit more for one service that has all of it than...
It is, and set up some parental controls.
Yeah,
I think the thing that like I can kind of justify it for them is the sense of they'll be the majority owners of Hulu, but they're not the only owners of Hulu. Then so they're working with other people, and Hulu is still a service in its own right.
Oh sure, but I wasn't suggesting that Hulu become the service. I was suggesting that they kind of pull away from Hulu and just focus on their own service. But
just sell their stakes in Hulu.
Either sell it or I don't know. But
that's the thing, isn't it? It's...
Like I say, when we talked about this before, it was a tricky situation. Like, what did they do with Hulu? They own most of it.
I think this is the easiest solution. It's maybe not. It's maybe the least interesting and the one that we like the least, but it is the easiest.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess in the upside, Hulu's not going anywhere. They're not, murking with it.
I think what will be really interesting is seeing if they license out any Marvel or Star Wars to Hulu in the same way that they've done with Netflix for the Defenders shows.
Hulu's already got a Marvel show.
Well, yeah, but I mean, once this is going and they've actually got a service that's already got those there, will they go, okay, Hulu, you can have some more?
And they already said that they're not... I mean, they kind of said this when it was first talked about as well, but they reconfirmed that none of the Marvel shows are being pulled from anywhere, and nothing is moving. Like, everything's staying where it belongs.
I don't think they can, even if they wanted to, with the Netflix rights.
No, that's true, but I think it means more than that. I think it means that, no, we're still developing shows with Netflix. It's not like...
They'll continue those going forward, yeah, for sure. And like,
especially not just continuing the same shows, they're still going to develop projects with them.
Yeah, I think that makes sense going with this news of, okay, no R-rated stuff on our service. So,
like,
we can kind of have
Punisher and... I mean, hell, none of the Netflix Marvel shows really could go in this.
None of them would go in there.
No. So, no, that makes some sense.
It does.
Alright, let's move on. So, Fox is moving forward a pilot, The Passage. However, it's undergoing reshoots with a new director. They weren't particularly satisfied with the original pilot, even though they still have a lot of faith in the idea. So they're reshooting the pilot and reworking it quite a bit. They're actually recasting a bunch of roles. Not all the roles. Some of the main cast are still there. They're recasting, I think, 3 or 4 of the sort of regular roles. However, they're doing this quickly. They're hoping this is ready so that when we get to the upfronts in May, it's still in contention for this year's shows.
Okay. You know, this is something I feel like we don't see a lot anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Redoing pilots with new cast. This, like, 5, 10 years ago, this was something that was really common, I feel, that I heard about all the time. Whereas now it's really rare I see that.
Yeah. This was the vampire in the future one.
Yeah.
Even though the description in this one doesn't actually mention vampires, but this was definitely the vampire one. I remember talking about it. And then let's move on. That's all the other stuff. So we're actually on to pilots and new shows now. We're on to the comedies, onto this section. So, first up, CBS has ordered a comedy pilot, executive produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. It comes from Hilary Winston. It's called 25. It's a hybrid comedy that follows 20-something... 25, maybe?
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Is that not why it's called 25? Whatever. 20-something Kyle who comes to Austin to finally convince his old best friend from camp that they are perfect for each other. Unfortunately, she just got engaged. A lot of guys would give up, but not Kyle. He is not one of those guys. To Kyle's surprise, even though he came to town looking for the one, he might end up with much more than that. So when he says he's not giving up, so he turns into a creepy stalker?
This is the thing. Whenever I hear a story, it's like, why am I supposed to root for this guy? She's engaged, and he's going, "Oh, I'm going to break him up. I'm better."
It'll be the tone. It'll be.
But why am I supposed to like him?
Do you like Jim in The Office when he's lusting after Pam?
A bit, but Jim's very likable for a long time. Even that's there and stuff, but it's not the focus immediately.
It's the heart of the show for the first 5 seasons. Come on now.
I mean, from mid-season 2, sure.
No. Episode 1, which is not a very good episode, but the one hook is the little reveal at the end, because he's been flirting with her all episode, and at the end she goes off with Roy, and you just see
his name then for a second.
Yeah, you see his face, and he looks like a sad puppy, and you're like, damn it, they need to break up.
But, okay, here's the difference.
I'm on Team Jim.
He's not actively trying to break them up and convincing her that she's with the wrong person.
I don't think this guy necessarily is either. I think it's just worded poorly, probably.
Oh, maybe, yeah. The way it's worded, it sounds like that.
If he is actively trying to sabotage a relationship, then yes, it will be impossible to root for him.
Yeah. But that's what it sounded like when you read it.
But that to me, this sounds like Jim, Pam, Roy. This sounds like he's going to be secretly in love with her for a season, 2 seasons. She'll break up with him at the end of the season, but she'll want to be single for a year. Maybe he'll have a new love interest for a little while. Karen, maybe. And then end of season 3, they'll finally get together.
You're assuming 3 seasons. Bold.
Assuming it lasts, yeah. Assuming it lasts. But that's not to say that I'm defending this. I think it sounds really generic. But it could, the writing could be good.
Yeah, it could.
But it's on CBS, so at the same time...
Probably not, yeah.
Yeah. So next up, Fox have given a pilot order to Bless This Mess, a single camera comedy from New Girl creator Liz Merriweather. We talked about this when it was in development, which was really recently. I remember this quite...
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. Interestingly though, this is a project that is getting a pilot, but because of the schedule, Lake Bell, the filmmaker actress who's in it, they're not doing this until June, so it's not going to be in consideration for this coming season. So whether or not that means that it's going to be a summer show next year, or if it's going to be just the following season, or even a mid-season replacement.
Yeah.
That's probably the most likely one, actually, is a mid-season replacement. But
I think so, yeah. If it'll be ready for June, to start going June, they can have this ready for January to March, no problem.
Yeah. Written by Merriweather and Bell, Bless This Mess centers on a newlywed couple, half of it played by Bell, that gives up their drab and unfulfilling lives in New York City and moves to Nebraska to live a simpler life, but it doesn't work out like they planned. Yeah, it's a couple living in a house comedy.
It is, yeah.
Straightforward enough. ABC. We talked a lot last week how there's a lot less single camera comedies this year, and there's mostly multi-camera. ABC's keeping the dream alive. They've ordered a single camera comedy pilot from the executive producer of My Name Is Earl, Bobby Bowman. So that's kind of cool. It's untitled right now, but it is inspired by Bowman's childhood growing up with a father who has a mental illness. The uplifting comedy features a dysfunctional family that perseveres despite their differences and finds happiness in unexpected places. It's interesting because when I first read that, I went, "Oh, is this kind of like the Speechless kind of competitor?" And then I went, "No, wait, that's ABC as well." So they're just this is companion
More
programming.
of a companion, yeah.
Yeah, this is companion programming for that. Hey, that show. I mean, I've still only seen the pilot of that show, but I am going to watch Speechless. I'm going
I've
to binge
seen a
that.
bit more when my girlfriend binged
Yeah.
it without me. Still annoyed, and but I caught bits, and it stays funny.
Oh, that's good.
And on this one, I like My Name Is Earl a lot. So
I never saw the final season of My Name Is Earl, but
that one was the worst. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong.
but I did like the maybe 2 seasons of it I watched.
Yeah.
But hey, also ABC, they've ordered another comedy. It's called Three Rivers. It follows Rebecca, who left her family's Texas ranch years ago to work at an upscale hotel in New York. But after being promised ownership of the ranch by her smooth-talking cowboy dad, Bo, she's back and ready to utilise her big city tactics to turn their rustic ranch into a destination spot. Her father and siblings won't make things easy on her. However, that's the end of the sentence.
Oh, okay. Your inflection, however, made it sound like there was going to be more.
Yeah,
That was on you.
That was on
just
me.
Poor reading.
but I just thought it was funny to still say however anyway. So, you know.
Fine. Sorry, you threw me off. I was like, okay, more to come. But that's all right. I don't know. It depends on how likable the family are and how fun they are together, I guess.
And again, you've got that classic culture. She's went to New York. She's learned to be a city slicker person, and now she's back in the ranch.
It's kind of comedy 101.
Also, ABC comedy pilot based on the book and blog How May We Help You, the single camera comedy workplace. It's an ensemble. It centres on 2 guest service associates at a high-end resort and the co-workers and guests that they're stuck with for 8 to 16 hours a day. The viral Tumblr and subsequent book, which the show is based on, was created by Anna Dresden and Todd Dakota Briscoe. What cracks me up about this, I think this is a good idea for a comedy. And I said this when we talked about the other one.
I was just going to say, didn't we hear about this like 3 weeks ago?
The Resort, I believe it was called. In fact, I feel like I saw something recently about that.
I mean, maybe you did. I don't know.
I did.
If you did, you should have had it next to this to segue into the other hotel-related show.
No, I'm actually looking now. I don't have it here, but I'm sure I saw something about it recently. It's probably just last week having a pilot order that I'm thinking of. But this one is a single camera though, which instantly makes me be more optimistic about it. I think the other one was on CBS, so
that sounds about right.
So this one, I like the idea of setting a workplace comedy at a hotel or something similar to a hotel, because you've got all these different guests coming in, but you've got your core staff, to sort of give you a through line and ground it, but you can have all these different wacky guests coming in and like causing chaos and making weird demands, and
it's a great idea.
Yeah,
I only need one.
I agree, but this is the one I'd probably take.
And I've got Faulty Towers still.
Yeah, you've got all 12 episodes of it.
Shut up. Still better than whatever this will be.
Probably, but still only 12 episodes of it. We need more than 12.
I don't know. I know. I really do.
NBC, we're switching over to it. They've ordered a pilot for a single camera comedy, which is good because they ordered a lot of multi-camera stuff last week. It's untitled, but the project shows one woman's hilarious, unfiltered take on the side effects of trying to have it all. And that's it. That's the whole thing. Amy Poehler's producing it though, so that's something.
Okay, that's something, because the rest of that gives me nothing.
Yeah, not a whole lot. But they've ordered a pilot, so therefore it exists. Like, something's there.
Yeah, but they're not telling us anything about it.
They are not. So let's move on. Another comedy. This one coming from Apple. They are developing another series. Again, that's one a week. We've had like one a week for ages now.
I feel like it's been one a week all year.
Yeah. Well, we're in February, so sounds about right.
I know, but it sounds more impressive when I said it like all year.
So Apple are developing a half-hour anthology show called Little America. Based on true stories from Epic Magazine, the Universal television series will explore the stories of immigrants in America. We got Lee Eisenberg, who wrote some of The Office, executive producing, along with The Pair Behind the Big Sick, which was a really good movie that came out last year. And one half of that pair is Camille Nanjiani, who is Indian and is an immigrant himself.
Yes.
So I see potential there. Depending on how heavily they're involved with these adapting these stories, I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one from the big set, I can't remember her name. His wife.
Emily.
Yeah, she was on an Amazon show last week.
I think it was. Yeah, she was on a show somewhere last week. Yeah.
Yeah, I just see too many A's.
But Apple's not going away. You're going to have to get used to it.
I know. God damn it, Apple! Why'd you have to get into TV as well?
Not a lot to say in this one, but the talent gives it a bit of potential.
There's nice people attached, so that's good.
Hey, if it has the Big Six style of humour, I'll be really into it. But next up, here's a place. You're getting used to Apple having something, right?
Oh, don't tell me there's somewhere else that's going to go. Oh, maybe I need to consider them as serious contenders in TV as well.
Facebook has given a 10-episode straight-to-series order to a half-hour female-driven dramedy starring and executive produced by Elizabeth Olsen.
What's going on?
And you recognise that name. This isn't just some sort of really weird web series.
I know who that is.
Do you know what's funny? I saw news this week about a Critters TV show, and I got all excited. Oh, we can talk about Critters TV show on the news this week. And it was a 10-minute episode. So I'm like, that's not a TV, that's a web series. Shut up. Go away.
Yeah, it's a web show.
Yeah, and it was on a website as well, might I add. It wasn't like it was airing on something. But hey, so Elizabeth Olsen, it's untitled, although it says it was formerly known as Widow. And when I read that part, I went, why not just keep that as a working title for now? And then later on you find out why it's been renamed, why it's not going to have that name. So it'll run the streaming platform Facebook Watch. Sure.
Is that a thing already, or is that something that this is going to launch with?
Yes. So it's created and written by Kit Steinkellner, who is behind Z, the beginning of everything. I should say Z, the beginning of everything, because that'll be the pronunciation of the title.
Yeah, but it's wrong, so it's Z.
But yeah, so where are we? So so you threw me off there, but just stupid little one-liner. So this is the premise is not being revealed right now, but Olsen is believed to be playing a young widow dealing with grief while reconnecting with relationships from her past. So really straightforward kind of premise. The reason why they seem to have changed the name is because another place which we're not typically used to announcing things, YouTube Red has a similar themed half-hour pilot also called Widow.
Do you know what is really funny? I assume this is the segue you were on about.
No.
Oh, it's not. Okay, I was going to say I'm only just getting used to places like YouTube Red and them. Now I need to think about Facebook too.
Oh, yeah, this YouTube Red thing's not a separate news story. This is just a bit of info with this one to say why.
I mean, crazy.
Yeah, this is among the first high-end series ordered by Facebook, as the social media juggernaut is making a push in premium original content. All right, sure, why not? Why not Facebook as well? Go for it.
I'm not paying for Facebook. I'm not paying Facebook money. Look, maybe I'll consider Apple just because they're giving me so much shit, even though I don't want to give Apple money. But Facebook is the line. I'm not giving them money.
Do you know what's funny to me about this is that I feel like we'd write this off as just a nothing thing that doesn't mean anything. By the fact that they've got Elizabeth Olsen, a name we recognise, a name that actually means this is a proper project, and we're like, oh crap, this is actually a thing.
Yeah, but look, Facebook already gets all its money from me with all its data mining. And it sold all my data. I'm fine with that. They make their money however they want. I use the service. But I'm not giving them money for a TV show. Not Facebook.
Oh, wait until they announce something you care about.
Oh, don't.
What do you like? I don't know.
See, I think the things that I love the most are already caught up by other entities. They're not going to Facebook, essentially.
There'll be something. There'll be something that's still kind of floating, and Facebook's going to buy it, and they're going to announce a show.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else you like, though. You're too focused on the same 2 or 3 mediocre things. Anyway,
hey, one of those things is DC, so shut up.
Alright, okay, it's not all bad taste, but there's a lot of bad taste in there. Alright, next up, here's something I did not expect to be out about this week.
So there's a running trend this week.
A Child's Play TV show is apparently in development.
From who?
No network yet, but Don Mancini, who has written all the movies, directed the last 3, is involved. Interestingly, this is not a reboot. This is nothing like that. This is a continuation of the continuity that we have from the 6 movies so far.
I don't know how to respond to this.
And what is amazing about this is that me and Tim on Screams did all the movies last year, culminating in the new release that came out in October, Cult of Chucky, which we actually quite enjoyed. It wasn't perfect, but it actually was surprisingly quite good and fun. And the end of that movie does some batshit insane things that were really unique and like, oh, this is fresh for the franchise, but it makes a lot of sense, and it was really cool. And interestingly, in this interview where he revealed all this, he's like, yeah, the end of the last movie kind of set it up. And I'm like, oh, we were expecting like another movie, because we were thinking that Curse, Cult, and then another film yet to come would be a trilogy. That's what it kind of felt like. It felt like that was the Empire Strikes Back of this new Chucky trilogy.
What's really annoying is I want to know what the hell is going on here, but I don't know if you can tell us without it just being spoilers.
Oh no, it's full-on spoiler hell, if I even begin to tell you.
This is insane. What?
It will be called Child's Play. He says we plan to use Child's Play in the title, and he's excited about using that title again because it's going to be darker.
Well, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, because the first 3 were Child's Play movies, and then it's been something of Chucky since.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's actually 50-50, but yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. I feel like the Chucky is more recognizable to the general public, though.
Yeah, these days.
I feel like you say Child's Play to someone they might not know, but if you say Chucky.
It's one of those things though where you have the poster, you have Chucky on the poster with the title. It doesn't really matter. They know what it is.
No, it's true.
It's kind of like how saying, like, I never did this, but like Batman v Superman, they never actually had to call it that. They could have called it World's Finest, and people might not know what that means. But you have the Batman and Superman logo mixed on the poster.
You get it. Yeah.
They're fine. They're good. They're going to see it.
I agree. I just think it's an interesting choice to revert back to that when I think now people are more familiar with Chucky as a concept.
He does say this does not mean it's an end of the film franchise. However, there's still sort of plans, but the focus right now for him is on a season of this, which is going to be 8 one-hour episodes. That's
mad. Look, I know we're taking a break in a second because we're due for timing reasons, and you need to tell me these spoilers because I need to know. I'm like, what on earth is this show going to be?
Right. The Everlong series will keep Chucky canon. He said that like 3 times. It'll be in continuity. It's not a reboot. At the ends with it'll keep canon. Like they're making that clear because the last 2 movies had post-credit sequences. And the last one had like legitimately it was quite an exciting post-credit sequence. It was like, oh shit. Because what's funny about the Chucky movies is that after the 3rd one, when they did Bride of Chucky, it kind of felt like it was kind of a soft reboot where they were kind of wanting to kind of forget, a lot of what the first 3 movies were and just sort of do this new, like more of a comedy Chucky.
Take the concept and do something new.
Yeah. And then the 5th movie, Curse of Chucky, which felt like it was going back to the horror roots. Oh, sorry, 6. We've had 7, sorry. I've been saying 6. There's 7 movies. I'm forgetting Seed existed. Seed was the 5th one.
Oh.
And then Curse was 6, and then Cult, which was last year, was 7. But Curse was like, oh, we're going to be more back to horror roots. And it felt like it was kind of almost a reboot. And then as the movie went on, it kind of slowly revealed, no, this isn't a reboot. Everything is canon. It started to like tie into a lot of things, and it was like, oh, this is exciting. And then Cult just took it in a whole new direction, but it's really playing with all of its ideas. Honestly, after the last couple of movies, I am legitimately excited by what 8 episodes of crazy and you know what? Brad Dourif is the voice of Chucky. Yeah, he can do a TV show. He's voicing a character. He's game. He's not that busy. He can do it.
Yeah, as long as they pay him.
Yeah. And his daughter, who's been in the last couple of movies, I'm sure she'll be game. She was in Dirt Gently while it was on.
Right.
So she's been doing TV. I'm sure she's game for it.
She's free now as well, though, because that doesn't exist anymore.
That didn't exist anymore. And again, the ending of the last movie would require her presence for the future of the stories.
I have a question.
How
many angry comments do you think we have correcting you that there's 7 movies?
Until they got to that point where I realised there was 7. Yeah, probably quite a lot. Do you know the funny thing is? I was doing the exact same thing. All week, I've been referring to the new Mission Impossible movie as the 5th one. Because for some reason, I just forgot it was already 5. So it's the 6th one, but I was doing the exact same thing. I was just, for some reason, thinking...
Which one are you forgetting there? Because obviously you mentioned here you were forgetting Seed.
Well, I'd like to think I was forgetting 2 because it's garbage, but...
But the reality is that's more memorable because it's garbage.
Yeah, so honestly, maybe the last one I'm forgetting, because it was fine. It wasn't bad. It was an enjoyable enough time, but it was very just kind of.
I mean, it would have to have been that or 3, surely. Because you're not going to forget 1, because that's the first one.
And 4's the best one.
4's the best one. 2's the worst one.
Yeah.
So it's 3 or 5.
But hey, so nah, I'm legitimately excited about this. This is a good idea. It's worth mentioning that he's not a stranger to TV either, because he produces Channel Zero right now. He's been doing that, so.
Okay.
So.
This is, blindsided me. I didn't see this at all, which is strange. This is the sort of thing I usually would have seen in advance.
Child's Play. Get a Child's. Well, no one's greenlit it yet, but I feel like he'll go
it's a brand. Someone will take it.
Yeah, Sci-Fi maybe I could see taking it, or whoever. Especially 8 episodes, and it's something he's been doing. Like the last few movies have been low budget, straight to video, but they've been very good for what they do. Like you don't watch it and go, oh, this is worse because it's straight to video. It just kind of feels like, he's just kind of free to do whatever he wants because it's straight to video.
I assume if they were low budget, as long as the profit was good, anyone will take this.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. We know TV shows, they love having a name for something already.
And obviously the biggest thing is just making sure the Chucky doll, the animation, it's all puppetry, but making sure that looks good. And it always has done, so.
Well, he knows what he's doing with it by now, clearly. He's got probably the same few people.
Yeah, I mean, the first movie's 30 years old this year. He's been there since the start. He wrote the first movie. He's been writing every single one since then. So, this is his baby, and he keeps just doing crazy things with it, so go for it. How do we follow up Child's Play TV series? How do I offer something that, okay, you enjoyed that news story, but it's not necessarily something that excites you specifically. What would excite you specifically?
Are you referring to me specifically? Or are you just talking in general to an audience?
No, you specifically.
Oh, me specifically.
What could I tell you that would excite you? Maybe an 8-episode season of a limited TV show by Alex Garland, writing and directing the entire thing for FX. Would that maybe interest you?
Do you know what? I think it might interest me.
Yeah, this wasn't like an official announcement. This was like him in an interview, just like dropping casually. Oh, I'm working on a show for FX, and it's probably going to happen. It's going to be 8 episodes. We're going to maybe try and shoot it later this year. He's already written the entire thing apparently, and he's hoping to direct the whole thing. So it's going to be an 8-hour movie, essentially split into episodes. It is going to be science fiction, which you should be happy about. Yeah, this is the exact what the next project, provided it happens. Hopefully, we're going to shoot it later this year. It's an 8-part television series for FX. It's a sort of science fiction, but it's much more technology-based sci-fi, whereas Annihilation is more hallucinogenic form of sci-fi and fantastical. He says it's a bit more in line with something like Ex Machina than it is Annihilation. So you're looking at like hard tech sci-fi, 8 episodes.
Ask me again once I've seen Annihilation, but as of right now, I'll say I'll watch anything this man does.
Yeah, right now he's 1 for 1, but that's just one.
But he's solid on the writing as well.
Oh, sure. But just in terms of his directing, like he's 1 for 1 so far.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Annihilation goes. But no, that's cool. So no title. Obviously, it's not an official announcement, so there's no description really either.
No premise. Yeah, nothing.
But I still thought that was worth mentioning.
It is worth mentioning, and it is exciting.
Moving on, Amazon are developing a Conan TV show, as in Conan the Barbarian. Coming from Colony co-creator Ryan Condal and Game of Thrones director Miguel Sapochnik.
It doesn't mention what episodes he did, does it?
No.
I know sometimes they'll tell you like the main episode that they've done, but all right.
Not a lot to go into. It just says Conan retells the classic character story via a return to his literary origins. So that maybe makes it sound like it's going to be more, accurate to the book than say the movies, but Arnie were.
Yeah.
Driven out of his tribal homelands, Conan wanders the mysterious and treacherous world of civilization, where he searches for purpose in a place that rejects him as a mindless savage. Believe it or not, I have literally never seen a single Conan project of any kind, or read any Conan of any kind.
Neither have I.
Despite the fact that I am a pretty big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I have never seen any of the Conan movies.
It's because you don't like fantasy.
That's exactly why I've not seen them, because every time I think about it, I'm like, nah, I could just watch like Terminator or Running Man or something. Like,
I get it. I know exactly what it was. I'm intrigued by this. I think it's interesting that, because obviously they've already got Lord of the Rings on the way, and this is another big fantasy IP.
It makes me wonder, though, if this is going to be the hard R one. Like if Lord of the Rings is more, that's just PG-13, it's for everyone. You know, it's going to be suitable for all ages. Whereas Conan, no, this is going to be the hard R, bloody, violent, all that.
That makes sense to me.
If that's what they're going to do with it, but hey, and it's a name, they like their names. But speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, there you go. That's a segue.
The one you wanted from earlier.
He is going to star and executive produce in a series also at Amazon, believe it or not. So there's a double connection there. It's called Outrider. It's a western, and it is an event-limited series. It'll follow a deputy in Oklahoma, Indian Territory, in the late 1800s. The deputy is tasked by a notorious judge with apprehending a legendary outlaw in the wilderness. The deputy is forced to partner up with a ruthless federal marshal, played by Arnie, to make sure the justice is properly served. This all sounds fine. That's going to be good fun.
Like a western.
Yeah, that's going to be good fun. What I think's funny though is that obviously Netflix just had a limited western, Godless, which was insanely high production values and was really, really slick. So they're going to have to break out all the tricks to make this.
This is clearly the obvious competition.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily saying they're doing this because of that existed, but it's hard not to think about it.
It is.
Reading that,
it's strange to think of Arnie in this role though.
Yeah, obviously, he's the older, ruthless federal marshal. It's also, I think, worth mentioning, I believe this is the first time he's been on a TV show. You know, in a regular role, where he's one of the lead characters. I don't think he's ever done that before. So, he's taken different roles in his old age, which is nice to see. Alright, next up, Amazon and Liberty Global are travelling into the future with the latest big budget drama. They are working together on a series from a Walking Dead executive producer by the name of Channing Powell. So Amazon and the European pay TV operator, that's Liberty Global, have commissioned The Feed. It's a TV adaptation of Nick Clark Window's dystopian novel. Basically, that's going to break down. Amazon are going to have the US, Canada, and Latin American rights. Liberty Global will have European rights, and then all three media will have the rest of the planet. So, which is annoying. I'd rather just be straightforward and just one place has worldwide rights, whatever. But there you go.
That's always the case. It's irritating, but I go, well, if this is the way it has to be for it to get made.
Sure, yeah. It's described as The Walking Dead meets Black Mirror.
I like one of those things.
I don't dislike Walking Dead in concept. It's just that the show is not that good. It's a 10-part series set in a near-future world where people can download a social media feed directly into their brains, and follows a couple who find their 6-year-old daughter missing after the feed goes down and society crumbles. So, this is interesting.
Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to think, where's The Walking Dead coming into it other than society's broken down?
I'm guessing, well, I guess they go looking for the daughter, and it's maybe not kind of wastelandy because of the dystopian breakdown, everyone's in a disarray. Maybe they'll just try to say that because the guy worked in Walking Dead, so they want to try and...
I feel like that's more likely.
Yeah. I could definitely see the Black Mirror comparison
definitely.
With some of that.
That's front and center. So it sounds alright though. Sounds pretty good.
But hey, look at that! 3 projects in a row that Amazon are making that all have levels of potential.
It's concerning.
Anyway, let's move on. So next up, Jennifer Garner is going to be in a TV show from creators Lena Dunham and Jenny Connor. It is an 8-episode show that has been ordered from HBO. It's called Camping. It's actually based on a UK show of the same name, created by Julia Davis. It tells the story of Walt's 45th birthday, which is supposed to be a delightful weekend back to nature, at least according to his obsessively organised and aggressively controlling wife, Catherine. But when the camping trip gathers Catherine's meek sister, holier-than-thou ex-best friend, and a free-spirited tag-along in one place, it becomes a weekend of tested marriages and women-on-women crime that won't soon be forgotten. That kind of sounds to me like it's all set over the one weekend, all 8 episodes.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Which is, I actually think, is a fine idea for a...
It is. I really don't like Lena Dunham, though, so...
I have 0 opinions on Lena Dunham.
Fair enough. I don't like anything I've seen from her or that she's said.
I don't think I've ever seen anything she said. I've seen a couple of her weirder comments, but I've never seen any of her work.
Okay.
I don't think anyway.
Seen a few bits and pieces, and I'm just not a fan.
I know. 8 episodes, HBO. So that's something that's in the works. All right, next up. I don't typically bring up these stories because normally you get these all the time. So such and such exec is signed with an exclusive first look deal with such and such station or network or whatever. This one came with the project though mentioned, which is why I think it's worth mentioning. So Lisa Harrison, who's previously been with 20th Century Fox TV, is set a first look production pact with FX Productions. That might not sound like a big leap, given that FX and Fox are kind of sister
Connected,
companies,
yeah.
but whatever. So they're developing projects for the FX networks, as well as outside networks, but I feel like that's obviously where they're all going to go first, to see if they want them. The first project in development under the deal is called The Body. It is a thriller set in a small town revolving around dark secrets among a group of girls at a Catholic high school. Quinn Shepherd is penning the script, and here's the thing that really makes this interesting though. Noah Hawley is amongst the producers of the show.
Okay.
So you got a name there that we recognise, and I do actually kind of like the setting. There's not a whole lot of plot there, obviously, but small town, dark secrets. Obviously, we've seen that at a few shows over the past couple of years. But I do think the Catholic schoolgirl setting gives it a different spin, because normally it's a bunch of kids on their bikes.
Yeah, it is. Was it an all-girls school, or was it just a group of girls in a Catholic school?
Group of girls at a Catholic high school. Yeah, it may just be a Catholic high school. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to tell from that. Could go either way on that word.
It could be either, yeah. It very well could be either, but either way, it's different because it's usually a group of young boys in bikes.
It is. It's usually a group of boys with one girl.
Yeah, that's usually the thing. And then maybe season 2 introduces a ginger. Like that's maybe what happens.
Not enough gingers. I'll take that back. There's too many.
John Cameron is also executive producing, but yeah, so you get the little Hawley backing it up. But hey,
I do wonder how much of that is just he's part of the FX family at this point.
Yeah, no, that is a fair point. Still, it sounds okay anyway.
No, it does, and I'm not putting it down to that, but I wouldn't get excited just based on his name at this stage.
Yeah. Here's that hotel resort thing. It's a drama. That's why I couldn't find it in the comedies. Damn it! There you go. Yeah, so this is ABC. I thought this was CBS. There was definitely a CBS comedy set at a hotel. I'm sure there was. I'm not making that up.
Was this comedy earlier? Was that not ABC as well?
I think it was, yeah. That was.
They're all in on this hotel idea. Someone at ABC loves it.
Well, this one's not the exact same, because... No. This isn't. This is set at a hotel, but this is not what the comedy I'm thinking of. I think I'm thinking of it because I think they're both produced by Eva Longoria.
We did get a bunch from her.
Yeah, but there's definitely a comedy that was like a... Because this one's called Grand Hotel, but there's definitely one that's specifically referred to as a resort. That's the one I was thinking of.
I'm sure there was. Yeah, I remember it as well.
It's the resort one I'm thinking of, but I just saw Grand Hotel and I was like, oh, this is similar as well, but this is a drama, so this is at least a little bit different. This is a soapy drama set against the backdrop of a Miami Beach hotel. It'll center around the family who owns the business, the staff who run it, and the blah 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 blah. We talked about this when it was in development. It sounded dull then. It sounds dull now. Yeah. I mean, the core idea's not that bad, but soapy drama.
Yeah, I'm out.
So pilot order. That was the news. It's ordered
pilot. Okay, cool. Let's move on.
Next up, NBC's ordered a pilot for Suspicion, coming from the creator of The Path, Jessica Goldberg. So the series is based on a book by Joseph Finder. It is billed as a Hitchcockian thriller that revolves around a man who is coerced to become an informant for the FBI after accepting a loan from his millionaire neighbour. That last part feels really separate from the rest of it.
It does.
Suspicion is actually the name of a Hitchcock movie, while we're on the subject. But since they're calling it Hitchcockian, there's actually a movie called Suspicion. Yeah. That sounds okay as an idea. I don't know if I necessarily trust NBC to make something that genuinely feels Hitchcockian. If they actually got like a creative team who actually genuinely made a TV show feel like it was a Hitchcock thriller the entire time, I would be all over that.
I think it'd be really hard to do that as a TV show, because once you get to the tension, that's it. It's tense.
I feel like there'd have to be ups and
show.
There'd have to be ups and downs. I feel like there'd have to be more than one, obviously, mission and stuff or thing that's going on. I think you could do it. I don't think this is the show that's going to do it, though.
No, I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
I say it's challenging.
Yeah. I don't think it would be a network TV show that's likely going to be 22 episodes. I think it would have to be a 10 episode or whatever show on a cable network or streaming service. But I don't have a problem with the plot, though. It's the sort of thing that
sounds fine.
Could be fine. And then we're on to the onslaught of CBS.
Of course we are.
And I do mean onslaught. So, pilot order...
Do we have to?
Yes,
Can we just skip CBS this week?
No, we have to do CBS. Red Line is a show here.
I'm out.
It explores what happens after a white cop in Chicago mistakenly shoots and kills a black doctor. We follow 3 different families that all have connections with the case, as the story is told from each perspective. Ava DuVernay's producing, and Greg Berlanti's producing, so it's got names. I will say this sounds at least like it's trying to do more than a typical CBS show.
In concept, that sounds great, but it's a CBS show. And my problem is, they say, oh, yeah, we'll see the event from different perspectives. I feel like it'll just be, oh, who can we visit this week and get their story? And it'll be 5 minutes of to do with this, and then the rest of the episode will be about their thing.
I will say it's very serialized sounding compared to what I expect from CBS.
It is, yeah. But I'm being cynical because it's CBS.
Unless they just solve that case in the pilot, and then episode 2 is just a different cop case.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Which wouldn't surprise me, admittedly, given them. Next up, CBS ordered a pilot, written by Sasha Penn from Survivor's Remorse. Never heard of it. It's called Main Justice.
Is it a legal drama?
I don't know. Would you call a show based around the US Attorney General as a legal drama?
I think I probably would, yeah.
In that case, it's a legal drama. The show takes us on a tumultuous world of the 5th floor of the Department of Justice, where he takes on the biggest legal investigative cases in the country, all while being the youngest person to ever hold such an esteemed position. So he can be attractive as well. Oh my.
This is network to a T.
Yeah, produced by produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. Produced by General Bruckheimer.
God, can you imagine if he was a general?
Oh god. Yeah, and that, I mean, his name also does not fill me with any excitement really either. Next up, they have ordered a pilot. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. No, I was doubting myself that we already had this news, but we didn't. But we talked about it recently when it was announced as in development. I was just like, wait, but no, it's just
okay. So you just kind of froze up for a second.
Yeah, the pilot order was LA Confidential. That's what's happening. So that's coming. Obviously, there's a movie in 1997. And
and we went over this about 3 weeks ago.
We did, and they're giving it a contemporary setting. Oh, they're not. It says it's going to be through a 2018 treatment in terms of tone, music, and style, but it's set in 1950s Los Angeles. But hey, it follows 3 homicide detectives, a female reporter, and a Hollywood actress whose paths intersect as the detectives pursue a sadistic serial killer among the secrets and lies of the gritty, glamorous 1950s Los Angeles. That all sounds fine. CBS, though.
You just expect them to squander any good ideas, don't you?
You do. I feel like it can't even really explore its setting. It's going to be like... And I love Timeless. This is not a dig at Timeless. But I feel like, when Timeless goes to a time period and you've got a few sets and I feel like it's going to have that level of...
Timeless is good for what it is, but it still feels relatively cheap.
Yeah, yeah. And we like it a lot, but like...
We do.
I feel like this show would live and die because the entire thing's set in that time period on how authentic... Like, kind of how The Deuce is really good at being 70s New York.
Yeah, and I'm really concerned, when they say, oh, I'll be through a 2018 lens of, tone and style and music. I feel like that's saying, yeah, it's not really going to be authentic looking 50s. It's going to be what if this was the 50s?
I think they'll try and be authentic looking, but I feel like the music selections might be, like, they'll have, like, all this contemporary stuff to, like, Well,
of course, it's CBS.
Yeah, but they're going to have, like, I don't know, the Snow Patrol or something.
Snow Patrol, that's your benchmark for contemporary music.
I was listening to Snow Patrol earlier, so they're in my head.
Oh my god, when was the last time Snow Patrol did anything?
I don't know.
It was about a decade ago, surely.
I was listening to Run, which is, you know, from like their first album, or their first big album at least.
That must be about 15 years old at least.
Maybe?
It's got to be about 2002, surely.
Look, I blanked. The first band that came out of my head was Snow Patrol. I don't do a lot of the hip hop or the popular music that the kids listen to today. All right, Carly Rae Jepsen. She's a new one.
Jepsen?
Jepsen? Is it Jepsen? Call Me Maybe. That broad. Right. We love her doing a song.
That's what we've devolved. That broad from that one song 3 years ago.
Now, to be fair, I know the video with Tom Hanks as well. I Really Like You. I'm familiar with that one.
Okay.
Which
This is highlight of my show. You're trying to think of contemporary music. I could watch this all day.
What is the newest album I've been listening to? That's a good question. What was the newest one? That's not a soundtrack. That's not a score.
Newest is in like a new artist or just a new release?
It's just new release, like the newest album that I may have listened to.
Okay.
That's a good question, because I actually don't know.
I mean, I don't think I've listened to anything that's released this year because people don't tend
actually, it might be Lana Del Rey's newest album. That was last year.
That was
right?
late last year.
Oh, yeah, that's not that old, but like.
It was like maybe October. I think. What have I listened to lately? The last Taylor Swift album was like November. Definitely listen to that.
I probably should try and like check out new music once in a while because I feel like I don't.
You've got Spotify, right?
I don't know. I only stumble onto it by chance occasionally because like maybe it'll be a song on a TV show or something. I'll be like, oh, who's this band?
Did you check out the new Churches song?
Oh, I did. I like Churches. Yeah. There
you go. That's contemporary.
It's called Get Out, which feels weird. It's like a year after the movie Get Out came out because all I can think about is that.
Yeah. But you should just have a browse through Spotify's new release section every week and see if anything catches your eye.
I'm so fussy though. I feel like 9 times out of 10 I'm going to hate what I listen to.
Okay, alternatively, go because Spotify doesn't show you everything. Of course, the other good option is go to Metacritic and go to their music section and look at the new releases there and see.
I love how we tangented here into like me trying to rediscover my my music.
Well, I mean, this is good advice for anyone who wants to find some new stuff and doesn't keep up with it. Just have a browse those things. With Spotify, Apple Music, whatever service you've got now, Amazon have a music service. It's so easy just to check stuff out.
Anyway, one last news story. Also CBS.
No, I really was trying to avoid getting to that.
Pilot order. It's called The Code.
It's a good title.
Oh dear. In The Code, the military's brightest minds take on our country's toughest challenges inside the courtroom and out.
Oh my god.
I love this next part though. I love this next part. Where each attorney is trained as a prosecutor, a defense lawyer, an investigator, and a Marine.
Do you know what the worst place? I knew this was crossing from the start. I was like, okay, we're crossing military stuff with a legal drama.
Yeah.
This is CBS to the max.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought you were going to say they were trained as code breakers, not as Marines.
No. They are Marines and also lawyers. This is just smashing together two things CBS loves to do. Just to go, yeah.
This is the most CBS show to ever exist.
If only they were also trained as doctors.
One of them will. You're going to have a couple of medics in there.
Oh yeah, the medic Marine, yeah.
Yeah, one of them will be.
Oh dear. So that's the news this week, which will take us on to picking our favourite episode of TV of the week, dating back to last Friday.
Are we doing that before then we go through what came last?
Then I'll plug, yes, then I'll plug.
Okay.
Oh no, maybe I should do that first actually, because that tells you about anything new that
anything
popped up.
That there's an option for us to
fair.
choose from.
That's fair. Alright, okay. So in terms of stuff, obviously S.H.I.E.L.D. ended its arc this week, so that's on a little break for a month. So that was a thing. Altered Carbon, of course, hit Netflix last Friday, so we've been working our way through that. We've got 5 reviews up so far out of 10, so which is not bad. That means it'll be about 2 weeks when we finish. So that's okay. Channel Zero came back. It started its 3rd season, the Butcher's Block season. So first review of that's up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all the new stuff. Obviously, coming up this week, we have the finale of season 1 of Star Trek Discovery. So that's the
exciting that it'll be finally done.
That sounds so positive. It'll be finally done.
Yeah, well, I'd like to be more positive, but the last chunk has not given me much reason.
Alright, so Star Trek's not your pick for best episode of the week then, is it?
And honestly, it's really hard this week because Shield was good, but I don't think it was its best episode. Um, I liked, I liked Channel Zero, but again, I didn't love it. Counterpart has had the same problems that it has consistently, but it's still enjoyable. And then that kind of leaves out the Carbon, where I don't think I like any one episode of that enough to go, that is the best episode of the week.
I concur. So Shield wins because Shield was still above and beyond.
Yeah, exactly. It's still better than all the rest, but it feels like it's one of those episodes of Shield where I look for other options because it's not its best episode. It's like, okay, I know you can do better than that, Shield. It was good, but you can do better, and I want to see what other people have got. But no one stepped up.
Oh well, there you go. Shield wins it this week, almost by default, unfortunately, and not because there was nothing else on, just because everything else was kind of just not particularly standing out as great.
Yeah, and it can't do that for the next month.
That is true. Yeah, we got a couple of weeks where who knows what we'll be picking until we get to till later. And even then, it's kind of binge shows. There's not like a lot of weekly stuff on.
We haven't got a lot of weekly stuff now, other than the ones that we've been covering till April.
Yeah, it'll basically be Channel Zero and Counterpart fighting it out the next couple of weeks outside the Netflix shows.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that is that. So that actually brings an end to the show, to this fairly lengthy news show. Actually, we went about 90 minutes on this one, so apologies for the length. Unless you like a long show, in which case you might.
If you like a long show, check out the movie news.
Yeah, we've been over 2 hours every single time with that. Last week was 2 hours 40, so I'm hoping we don't repeat that this week. But we'll find out. That is this week's TV news. Let us know what you thought of the news items in the comments below. Actually, before we go, I should actually make a small, just a small amendment to one of the stories from last week. Remember there was a Gone Baby Gone pilot last week, and I wasn't sure if it was related to the movie.
Yeah,
the same name. Apparently, it's based in the same book.
Okay.
I didn't recognise the character names because the main thing I remember about that movie is that it's about a kidnapped kid, and the description of the show never really mentioned that. It was just talking about the two partners. So just for the record.
That's fair. I guess the other thing we should mention is this might be on a different day next week.
Oh, that's quite right. Yeah, bit of an update there. Due to when we can fit things in, we're going to, because Shield's not on and our Saturday nights freeing up. We have time to record something there instead, so we don't have to do them back to back. So because the movie news is longer typically, that'll be the one that gets recorded first. So next week, basically the two news shows are swapped. So movie, and this will probably be true for a few weeks until Shield comes back. The movie news will go up early on the Saturday instead of the TV, and the TV will be up early on the Sunday. So it's not a big deal, but we wanted to warn you and say that would be happening. So they'll just be switching around. I doubt it'll even affect what's in the news because you don't get much on a Saturday.
Yeah, but if so, it'll be just anything that happens to slip in on the Friday night before we check.
Yeah, so
nothing major.
So that's the thing. So that'll be happening next week. But otherwise, that's us. So let us know what you thought of the news in the comments. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel and the show, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. There's a link in the description. There's bonuses to be had and things to look at and whatnot. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?